Hey there, fiber friends. Welcome. If you're new here, my name is Melissa. I'm the owner and dyer behind Rising Tide Fiber Company. Today I'm diving into everything that I've been knitting, watching, reading for the last couple of weeks. It's been roughly about 2 weeks since I gave you guys an update. And so I've finished a ton of things. So grab a cup of something and let's dive in. So I have been busy just clearing the needles, essentially. If you watched my video last week, you know that I have a few summer plans and I'd really like to get started on some of that. The last time I gave you guys an update, I was working on my Astro Pop Tee. I knit this. I have actually finished it. I had done my sleeves last time and all I had left was, I think I just had the ribbing to do. So I have actually finished it, and I used my 50% cotton, 50% wool DK blend on this sweater. The green is Disruption, and then the yellow is called Hello Sunshine. The orange is Orange Crush, and the pink is Intoxicating. I have given plenty of updates on what this all involved, so you can certainly circle back to previous episodes if you want more information on it. It is the Marie Green pattern. This is her 4-day knit along pattern for this year. No, the knit along is not 4 days. It's actually the whole month of July. So I will link to that information down in the description box below so you too can knit one if you'd like. I fell in love with this pattern. I had an early copy of it, and this was my test sample. It is knit on a US 5 for the main part of the body. You do go up for that chevron section, and of course use a smaller needle for the ribbing. I do, of course, need to weave in ends. I have a ton of stuff that I need to weave in ends, so I think that I am going to kind of round up everything that needs weaving in ends and make a weekend of it. The next item that I finished is my Magna Flora. This is a pattern by Elisa Hartzell. Most of you know that I had started this earlier in the summer, and I had done the whole lace porton, gotten a couple inches of the body done, and then went back and finished off my sleeves, and then I was just knitting the rest of the bottom. Now, I did end up doing that lace at the bottom. I did lengthen mine a little bit, but I did do the lace. I haven't blocked this, so it hasn't opened up. Again, this is one that I need to weave in ends, so I will get this and the Astro Pop Tee. It also technically needs to be blocked. So now that we are not in like a severe heat wave, I mean, yes, we're still experiencing heat today. It's kind of humid, but it's overcast outside. So I'm hoping the next few days will kind of lighten up from a heat perspective and I can get things blocked and then again add it to the pile of things that need ends being woven in, because I hate weaving in ends, but I'd really just like to make a weekend of like weaving in ends if at all possible. I used Sandus Garn's Lean for this in color 5335. I think it's like a raspberry color. I'm not sure if it's a color they still make. I still have, I want to say, 3 skeins of this. I love this yarn. I love working with it. I like the way that it wears. I like its drape. It is part linen, cotton, and viscose, I think. just a really great yarn. I knit mine on a size 8. The pattern calls for a size 9, but this will make a nice breathable piece. And then everything else that I finished was socks. I have been on this weird sock binge. A few weeks ago, I had done one sock of my Paisley Pearl colorway, and I had started the second one. Well, I now have 2 socks completed. They are both done. Again, they just need ends woven in. I knit for 1 inch. I use a US 1 2.25 needle. I do 1 inch of ribbing, and then I knit from the tip of my cuff to the top of my heel for 7 inches. Then I do just a traditional slip stitch heel, turn my heel, and then from the tip of my heel turn to where I want to start decreasing, I do 7¼ inches, and then I do my decreases for my toe. This is the Paisley Pearl colorway, named after our new puppy, Paisley. I think we might hear her cry. I think she heard her name the first time I said it. So, she is supposed to be down for a nap in her crate like everybody else. So we'll see. Great fun, but these are done, which I won't actually wear these for a while. They'll be probably a sample on the truck for a little while, but we'll see. I did do a hat, so maybe these will go right in my sock drawer. And then I had finished one sample sock of Norman's Justice. Norman's Justice was a colorway for my forever foster that I named Norman. Norman passed away in February, so I had a really hard time picking up the second one. I did pick it up, I want to say, last month, and I got to about here, and then it just kind of went stagnant while I was working on sweaters. But I have now officially finished both of these. So weaving in ends, these will go right into my sock drawer. So I'm happy to have those off the needles. And then I had a pair that I had cast on, and I was teaching a beginner sock knitting class at my local yarn shop, but I was specifically teaching it on 9-inch needles. And so I needed a pattern to use, and I wasn't just gonna, out of the blue, teach them the sock recipe that I do. So I used the Crazy Sock Ladies sock pattern for 9-inch needles. And so I did have to do a sample pair because I don't follow that recipe. She does have a few distinct differences in the way that I knit mine. So I had cast on a pair, and I had knit all the way down and turned the heel. And then on one of them, I had picked up and done the gusset stitches, and I was just in the round and round. And I did them in tandem, and the other one I had done, and I had turned the heel, and I was ready to pick up my gusset stitches. So I have since finished them both. I went ahead. This is the sock set that came in my Advent 2 years ago. It was a Taylor Swift, maybe it was last year's. Maybe it was last year's. I don't remember. I want to say it was either last year or the year before. Yes, it was last. It was the year before last. It was the Eras Tour box that I did, and this is 'Tis the Damn Season. It was a sock set that I had as the 25th day. So these will actually end up going in my Christmas sock box. And so these are finally finished. They've obviously been on the needles for almost 2 years now. So I'm happy to have these off. And then because I've been in such a manic, like finish socks, I knew that I had one sock done in my Moon Goddess colorway. This is a standard colorway on in my lineup, and I had this sock on display probably for the last year. And so I knew I had started the other one. I had to go in search of this one. I did find it. I had set it aside on the truck. So I found the other one, and no lie, I was literally right here. Like, I had done the whole sock. I had 1 inch to go before I started my toe decreases. So that was an easy, oh my God, let's just finish this and be done. So the Moon Goddess socks are done as well. So that is 2 t-shirts and 4 pairs of socks that are done. Now, I do have another colorway. This is my aquarium colorway. This sock has been done for a while. And in the midst of, oh my God, let's get all these socks off the needles, this one's been on display for a while at shows and stuff. But I had never cast on the second one, but I found the balls in my project bag. I had a few, like my 'Tis the Damn Season socks were in here. This was in the colors for this were in there. So I went ahead and cast on the second sock, and all I need to do, you might be able to see my needle is in here. All I need to do is Kitchener this off. I was waiting. If I'm going to Kitchener, I kind of want the dogs to be settled. I like to just Kitchener all in one fell swoop. It just takes me like 5 minutes to do it. But when you've got 4 dogs, one of them being a puppy, like a really little puppy. Even though I can knit on a sock and easily put it down really quickly as I'm supervising like play and stuff, I don't want to put down Kitchener and then come back and go, okay, now where was I? So I just need those few minutes to quickly Kitchener. Again, it takes me 5 minutes, but I prefer that 5 minutes to be somewhere in the midst of when everybody's settled and they're kind of dozing, because then I know that I can completely get it done with 0 interruptions. So that's all I'm waiting for. Quite honestly, that time frame was right when I decided that I needed to get this recorded. So when I'm finished, the aquarium socks will be done. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then earlier this week, today is actually Thursday when I'm filming, but on Tuesday, I went to the movies for the first time in, I think the last movie I actually saw in the theater was the Barbie movie with my sister, maybe. What was that, 2 summers ago? But we have a really small, like super small movie theater, 20 minutes up the road from where I live, and they get, the latest movies in, but they only keep them for, I want to say, a couple of weeks, and then they're gone. And they have the new Jurassic Park movie, and as you'll hear in updates of what I've been watching, one of those things was Jurassic Park. So on Tuesday morning, I knew, oh darn, I didn't bring the finished sock up. I must have left that downstairs. But I cast on my ribbed cuff, and then I just took this. It was in my purse. I went Tuesday at like 1 o'clock. That's the day they have like discounted coupons. Like, I think I paid before the processing fee. It was like $7 for my ticket. So I went in at, my ticket was less than $9 to watch the new Jurassic Park movie. And so it was a pretty relatively empty theater. I mean, obviously there were other people there, but I sit in a back row where there's just a, I can quickly get to the door if I needed light. But I got this much knitting done during those few hours in the pitch dark. I can knit, and so I got a few inches done while I was sitting in the movie theater. Now, I can clearly knit in the dark. The new Jurassic Park movie is really dark in and of itself. Normally, I feel like when you take knitting to the movie theater, there's so much light coming from the screen itself that you can kind of see. There were a few glimpsy moments where I was like, oh my gosh, did I just drop a stitch? And I was able to quietly just like hit the button on the side of my phone, face down in my lap, and I could kind of see. And again, the theater was pretty empty, so there was no one sitting around me that it would bother. Because the movie itself, again, was really dark. So yeah, the first sock of this has already been done. This is the She Put 'Em on the Map colorway. I had put together sock sets with this like tealy green color. And so I am hoping to get this one finished. And then that one, I have plenty of samples in this colorway now. So that sock sample can totally come down. I think there might be a micro sock set left in this colorway. I'm not sure. But this sock set can definitely get its ends woven in, and then that too can go in my pile. So I will have two more once I Kitchener this, and then I get this one done. That will add to the socks that I have all finished. But I'm pretty impressed with myself. Because I do tend to sometimes let socks linger when it gets to a part that I just don't feel like doing, whether that's picking up the gusset stitches or doing the toe decreases, just because, as many of you know, I like to go around and around and around. I like that meditative nature of knitting. And those are the parts of the socks, ribbing, gusset, and toe, that I'm not necessarily a fan of, but I do love my knitted socks. So I am excited about that. That covers everything that I got done. So 2 tees, 4 pairs of socks, 5th pair almost finished, and then I'm hoping the next time I sit down with you guys, I'll have this one finished. I did start a couple projects as well the last couple of weeks. So one of the things that I wanted to start, if you saw my video from last week where I talked about my summer knitting plans, one of the things that I talked about is I wanted to do a traveler's cowl. And before I picked up socks, after I'd finished the tees, I had just kind of decided, I'm just going to cast it on right now. So I did. Now, all right, so this is the way it is. This is the upper corner. This is the side, I believe, that it will seam against. So you can see I am in the increasing parts so far. This is the Moon Goddess colorway. This is my interpretation of the book cover from Daughter of a Moon Goddess. And I've had, again, that sock sample for a really long time. I have a crocheted granny square on the truck in this colorway. But I love this colorway. It incorporates just about all the colors that I really like to wear. I'm a huge fan of navy and gray as neutrals, and then I love pink. Purple's my favorite color. So this has all of that in it. So I started this. I have not picked this up in the last week because I've been so gung-ho on finishing all of those socks that I picked up. So we shall see. I didn't write down. I think, yes, this is on a US 6, which is a 4mm needle. This is, I'm using DK 100% superwash DK. So this is really nice and squishy. It'll grow. I have just, oh, way to go, Melissa, just drop all your stitches. I am using my Knit Companion app to keep track of all of my, to keep track of all of my repeats versus tick marks on paper. Normally I am a paper pencil kind of gal, but I opted to use Knit Companion just because I did have the ability. There's a couple things you need to keep track of. Oh, you have row sequences, whether that's like, repeat 16 rows 8 times or whatever. So you're keeping track of what row are you on, but you're also keeping track of how many times did you complete the sequence. So with the multiple counters in Knit Companion and highlighting each row as I go, that just felt like the easiest way to keep track of it. And then right as I was editing that summer knitting plans video, Andrea Mowry dropped a pattern called, I think it's called the Night and Day Shawl. I'm sure when I put the name of the pattern on the screen, if I'm wrong, I'll correct myself. And she totally used Spin Cycle with this. I opted not to use Spin Cycle. I've never used Spin Cycle. I didn't want to go stash diving for Feederbrook Farms, which is out of Baltimore County here in Maryland, which is fairly local to me. And I did look at Junction Fiber Mill, but ultimately I just decided I didn't want to put out any money. And so I just went on the truck and started looking at colorways to see what will work. And so I chose a sort of variegated speckle colorway, and I'm using my Silver Lining colorway this is DK as well. So Silver Lining is my main color, and then I chose Petal Power as my contrasting colorway. Now, I am not very far into this, guys, but I definitely am liking the look of this. In the end, I just decided I don't wear a ton of shawls. So if anything, I wanted something that was somewhat neutral, which is where the gray comes in, because for me, gray and navy are the two perfect neutrals. Like, that's what's in my closet, is gray and navies. And then I think this pink colorway, this Petal Power, because this has a lot going on in skein form, I feel like it's sort of one of those undervalued colorways where when people see it knit up, they love it. But when you're looking at it in the skein, you're probably not getting too excited about it because there's different hues of pink going on. There's black, there's purple, there's some golds, and it's not until you get it knit up that you're like, wow, that's really pretty. So I needed something, so I chose it because it is such a busy colorway in the skein, but it always knits up so beautifully. And I think with the gray really kind of accentuates it. It also pulls down those black and purple values, so they're not coming off quite as harshly as they do maybe in the skein. And then I will actually wear this because I think if you were to go back and look at all my videos, I wear a lot of pink, like a lot of pink. So this obviously will go in my wardrobe with the gray and the pink. Again, I'm not too far into this. I am using the recommended needle of a US 6 4mm needle. I'm wondering if this is just going to grow a lot. It feels like, now I've not checked my gauge because I can't imagine. She used, I think, a DK with a woolen spun worsted. I could be wrong, but the pattern calls for it in a DK, even though she's using some what are technically worsted weight yarns. But we'll see how big this gets. In her pattern photos, it looks humongous. Now, I've not really gone back to look at how big everyone else's are, but I'm thinking because it's superwash, it's going to grow a fair amount. I can technically block the heck out of this, but we'll see. I am really loving it. I will say that this pattern and the Traveler Cowl, I'm doing this one using my Knit Companion as well because, again, it's another one where you're keeping track of what row you're on, but you're also keeping track of what row you're on in the sequence. So, again, it could be, 10 rows that you have to repeat 8 times. So, Knit Companion with its multiple counters versus tick marks. If I didn't have a puppy, then maybe I'd be using my standard paper and pencil, but I don't really feel the need. Knit Companion's working, on my iPad. It also means that, like when I watch YouTube, I watch it on my television, which is just really big, but I have a Samsung phone and a Samsung television, so I just mirror my YouTube from my phone to my television, so that frees up to use my iPad for my knitting. So I'm really excited about this one. I will probably finish the Traveler's Cowl first, just because it's a smaller project. It is part of my summer knitting plans. This, however, was not part of my summer knitting plans. This was literally spur of the moment. I cast this on the day after the pattern came out. The only reason that I didn't cast on the day of is because it took me a while to really figure out what colors I wanted to do this in, and I scoured all of the testers. Most of them had used some sort of gradiating, like barber pole yarn, so it took me a while to kind of peruse the ones who had used solid with variegated or speckly colors. So we'll see how much progress I make on this. I would love to have this done before fall to obviously have it as a sample on the truck. Same with the Traveler's Cowl. As for the other 2 items that are on my summer knitting plans, obviously socks was one of them. I am excelling in that department. The tank top, I have not done my swatch. I have pulled one of my skeins. It's sitting aside. I just need to wind it and then do the swatch. And if I'm smart, I'll do the swatch, lay it out to block when I block my tees, and then I could get started on that. I do have the sneaking suspicion, though, that may end up being done towards the end of the summer, which means if I was smart, I would hurry up and get it done so that I could wear it before the summer ends. I'm just not too confident on that. Not that I don't want to make it, but my desire has fizzled a little bit. But it is obviously tank tops make great layering pieces, so it's not like I won't wear it at all. I would just have to wear it under something else if I want to wear it for multiple seasons. I have not caked up my skeins to do my granny squares for either the Fleetwood or the Getty, so we'll see. But that's the first step, is granny squares for those. So, hopefully by the next time I podcast, I'll have at least one granny square done. And that's everything that I've been knitting, which quite honestly has been a lot for me, I feel like. It is summertime. I am a teacher, so I have had time off since picking up Paisley. I have not been in the dye studio. That's changing this week. She's now about 12 and a half weeks old. She is, I feel like now that she's been here a month, she's fallen into a routine. Potty training is going really, really well. She's now to the point of telling me, like, she goes to the back door when she has to go to the bathroom. And I believe her every time she goes over there. Like, she's not gotten to the point where she's like, I have one that will go to the door, and it's not because she has to go to the bathroom. It's because she just wants to be outside and chase like salamanders, that kind of thing. So Paisley has not gotten to the point of trying to fake me out. So I believe her, and she will literally go straight into the yard and do what she needs to do. So potty training is going really well. Crate training is going really well. Crate training has been going well since she came home. Because she had been somewhat crate trained by the breeder. Now, obviously, the whole litter was in a crate together, so being in a crate in general when I got her didn't really faze her. And she doesn't really bark or cry unless she's had an accident. I will say that I'm really looking forward to like a month from now when she should be old enough to sleep through the night. Right now we are getting up around 1 o'clock to go outside to go to the bathroom. And then she usually gets me up around 4 o'clock, but that's not really necessarily to go outside. That's really like, I'm tired of being in a crate by myself, and can I cuddle with you? So for an hour and a half, she'll kind of curl up with, I'll let her out and let her curl up in the bed with me. And then about 6 o'clock, they're all kind of getting ready. They're all kind of ready to get up, because typically most nights we go out for the last time between like 9 and 10 o'clock. Everybody goes in their crates, and then I'm usually going to bed to read. So, and then we had 4th of July last week. I have one that doesn't really like thunderstorms in general. She typically will just go to her crate anyway. But this year, Legend also decided to be quite reactive to fireworks and thunder. So, and their reactivity, Lyrics is not really that bad. Again, she will just usually go straight to her crate during a rainstorm or a thunderstorm. and she's pretty chill. Legend has decided that's not really his cup of tea. So essentially what I do is, like on 4th of July, I put them in their crates. By then it's dark, and then I just turn classical music up on my phone, like turn the volume all the way up on my phone, and everybody just kind of, it somewhat dulls or drowns out all the booming outside, and it's what works. Everybody settles and goes to sleep. So where I live, I, the day before 4th of July, then the 4th of July, July 3rd, my town had their display. I live in a small beach town, so that was 3rd of July. Then 4th of July, we had neighboring towns have theirs, so we could hear them. And then on the 5th of July, someone local, like in their backyard, was doing it, and I was like, oh my god, if this turns into the 12 days of 4th of July, I'm gonna lose my shit. Fortunately, it stopped after the 5th, so things have been relatively calm. We did have a thunderstorm last night, so again, everybody goes in their crate during the storm. Oh, the other thing was the power was out last night for a little bit during these thunderstorms. It hadn't even started raining, and the power blipped out. Everybody went in their crates, and within like an hour and a half, the power was back on, and things were fine. But that is my go-to maneuver to just get everybody in the right calm headspace. What have I been watching lately? Well, like many of you, I have started the new season of The Gilded Age on HBO Max. This is Julian Fellows, the same executive producer of Downton Abbey. So if you've not found your way to The Gilded Age and you love Downton Abbey, you will love The Gilded Age. I wish they didn't feed it to us one episode at a time, but it is what it is, so I am loving it. And then over that 4th of July break, like my husband was home that week, and I don't know, he watches movies, like reruns of movies on TV all the time. And what I recognized is, like, I love the original Jurassic Park movie, and I knew I had seen, I think, just about every single one, but if I walked into the room, I couldn't tell you which one he was watching. And so I just decided to sit down and watch them through in sequence. Right now, all but one of them is on Peacock, so I managed to get through all of them. The one that was missing was the 4th one. It was on Amazon Prime. I had a digital credit, and so it cost me like 79 cents to watch it. And then I went back to Peacock and watched the rest of them. And then again on this Tuesday, I went to the theater to see the new one. Just because I thought, oh, I think it might be fun to watch a dinosaur movie in the theater. And again, my really small local theater, I had never been there. It is recliner seats. The sound was not as loud as I anticipated, so that was kind of nice, particularly with the dinosaur movie. But I had a lot of fun. It was a good experience for me, having not been in the theater for a few years. So now I'm back to kind of looking for things to get invested in and watch. So as for what I've been reading, I have read 12 books in the last 2 weeks. So I think what I'll do is I'll kind of break things up, and I will talk about what I read the last couple of weeks in next week's video. So thanks for hanging out with me today, friends. If you've made it this far, I would love for you to give me an umbrella emoji for all the rain that we have been having lately. So until next time, friends, happy knitting. So that is everything that I have read in the last 2 weeks. If you have made it this far, go ahead and give me a book emoji. So let me know that you made it all the way through. If there's something that you think I should be adding to my TBR pile, let me know down below. Until next time, friends, happy reading.